Hello and welcome to Thought for November the 16th. Our readings are Nehemiah chapter 3, Hosea chapter 13, and 1 Thessalonians chapters 1 and 2. And our thought is, to please God who tests our hearts. As Paul and his companions travelled to bring the message of Christ, their reception was different in each place. We have had the same experience ourselves. What is very pleasing is that in countries in which we do not expect to have much, if any, success in teaching the truth about the Bible, good progress has, most remarkably, been made. We think of Nepal, then of Bangladesh, then Cambodia, and now the efforts to spread the truth of God's word in Burma, now called Myanmar. These are attracting increasing interest. And what about Iran? And until recently, Afghanistan? It is astonishing that the truth of God's word is penetrating these countries, spreading from the widespread interest in Pakistan. Today we are reading Paul's letters to believers in Thessalonica, and noted his comments in the first chapter that they received the word in much affliction, verse 6. Also how they became an example. For not only has the word of the Lord sounded forth from you in Macedonia and Achaia, but your faith in God has gone forth everywhere, verses 7 and 8. No wonder Paul is so enthusiastic in what he writes. In the second chapter, he recalls, we had boldness in our God to declare to you the gospel of God in the midst of much conflict. We speak not to please man, but to please God who tests our hearts. For we never came with words of flattery, nor with a pretext for greed. Verses 2 through to 5. It is tragic that so often the motive in preaching has been wrong. Those with the wrong motive God will judge. Writing to the Hebrews, Paul said, "It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God." Chapter 10, verse 13. Those with the right motive respond to Paul's call to walk in a manner worthy of God, who calls you into his own kingdom and glory. Verse 12, today's chapter. Finally, we noted the point he made at the end of the first chapter, that we wait for his Son from heaven, Jesus, who delivers us from the wrath to come. This reminds us of what we read in Hosea today, the fate of those who had no time for God. They shall be like the morning mist, or like dew that goes early away, or like smoke from a window, chapter 13, verse 3, to become no more, presumably not even to know they ever existed. But the really vital thing is for us to each ask ourselves, what does God find when he tests my heart? Well, that's a question only you can answer. But thank you very much for joining us for Thought for the Day, where together we can open up the pages of God's Word, remembering that it is a lamp to our feet and a light to our path.